One of the things Living St. Louis likes to feature is stories about how things get done, behind the scenes. We like to look under the hood. And a year ago, we visited Tillis Park in St. Louis County to document one amazing transformation. It's one of the great attractions of the season, a walk, a drive, a carriage ride through St. Louis County Park's Winter Wonderland in Tillis Park. It started back in 1986. It might be in its own way a magical experience, but it is not a Christmas miracle. And it was summer of last year, when people were out in shorts and t-shirts and thinking about the start of the school year, that we met with County Parks employees who were already focusing on their November deadline. It takes a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of people, a lot of planning. But when the lights go on, well, it all started with one woman and a blank sheet of paper. Her name is Susan Tornetto, and it's not exactly a blank sheet of paper, it's just a blank map of the park.
Right. Well, the first year I used everything.
For the last 6 years, she's been the one filling it in, deciding what goes in and where, what displays get cycled out, which new ones are brought in.
This is for this year.
Right.
And I start blank, and then I just plug in the big displays that are permanent displays that are really big that we keep in pretty much the same location annually.
Right.
So I put those in, and I just start working around it. Yeah. Moving things around, trying to create new, different designs.
The Big Boy Toys is number 7. There you go. So you know exactly where it is.
Which we may change that, because there's too much of a slope there. So I already know that has to be changed.
We're in late August.
Yes, sir.
So the Winter Wonderland is all in here at this point, right?
Correct.
Or maybe not all of it.
Not all of it. The majority of it is.
Keeping track of and maintaining all the pieces and then getting them installed, John Myers in charge of that.
Probably close to 1,000 light fixtures in this building alone.
Yeah. And you know what? It seems to me, and I was here years ago, it seems to me that it's more filled to capacity than it was before.
Yes, it is. And that's got a lot to do with the use of LED bulbs. We got a lot more power to utilize now because the LEDs take a lot less energy than the incandescent light.
Let me ask you this. Is this all organized in a way so that you know which part sits where?
It doesn't look like it, but this is organized chaos.
What's out here and why is it out here?
This is part of the poinsettia arch that's in the front of the entrance when you come in. The work we had to do is some of the brackets mainly these structures over here.
I actually purchased 6 new displays, so I'm excited about placing those.
That's for this year or
Correct.
2020?
No, that's for this year.
For this year,
So I'm excited about to place those and show those this year.
So when did you start working on this year's design?
Last year.
About this time?
Probably earlier. So when we start setting up for the previous year, that's when I kind of started getting ideas for the following year.
So you're thinking about 2020?
Right.
It is mid-October in Tillis Park, an absolutely beautiful day. Halloween's a few weeks away, Thanksgiving well down the road. But here, well, here it's already all about Christmas. What are we looking at here? What is this?
Oh, this is a Winter Wonderland Pixie. So it says Winter Wonderland, and then there's Pixie with the wings. It's animated.
And you've done this before, so...
This is my 6th year.
So it should go smoothly without any problems, right?
Absolutely. Piece of cake.
So what kinds of things do you run into that maybe you have to be ready for?
Well, the weather's a huge issue.
As long as it's not storming, lightning, we'll be out there in the rain, set this event up.
So you really give yourself, what, 2 months then? To
2 months. 2 months, yes.
There's installation and there's testing. There's probably some problem solving when you're out in the field there.
Right, getting electric to everything is a big chore.
So much going on. It almost seems like it's busier now than it is during Winter Wonderland. There are different displays placed throughout the park. We're checking, making sure lights work. We're making sure displays don't need welding or that they do need welding. There's so much going on right now.
You really get a sense of all that's going on when you come to the garage, where the first time we were here, we could barely make it through. It was so full of lights and racks and everything else. Now, well, all that stuff is out there.
how these holes
And a lot of times the lights go out, or so lots of repairs and changes. And
Yeah, so it's always a work in progress, not just assembly, but
right. We may place something and then see it in the dark, where you get a whole different viewpoint and realize that's not going to work.
Yeah.
So some moving and changing sometimes.
so if I look at it set up in the daytime, it looks one way, but if we look at it at night, you think maybe we need to tilt this a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, change the angle or the placement entirely.
Yeah.
Maybe move it to a whole different area. It may work better over there.
You've got to get up pretty early in the morning to see what they're doing with the Winter Wonderland as the deadline approaches. We're about a week ahead of Thanksgiving right now. You've got to get out here about 5:30 in the morning because it's dark and they've only got maybe an hour before the sun comes up. Things looking okay so far?
They are.
Is this like the final check or?
Oh no.
This is no.
So we still have a few more days. Right.
Everything
we have
is
about
looking
four more mornings.
Anything that you see this morning that you're not supposed to see?
Not yet. Once
No?
we turn everything on, then we can go back and see. And we'll flag it and make lots of notes to make sure it's all set up and looks good. So it looks pretty good. All right, are you ready to go see the wreath? There's a few areas that are completely dark, so which I think just need to be hooked up with electric.
Yeah.
And then from there we can tell if there's something that needs to be changed or adjusted, because you just can't tell in the daylight.
Yeah. So you came in about 5:30,
Correct.
but it's already sun's already coming up.
Right. Doesn't give us much time to to see the mistakes or the repairs needed.
Yeah. So what do you are you out here again tomorrow then?
Oh yes, I'll be here through next Wednesday. Yeah. So that'll give us a little more time before it officially opens for vehicles to make any adjustments or improvements.
The Winter Wonderland was up and running in all its glory on schedule for its 34th year. Last year, some 160,000 people walked, drove, or took a carriage through Tillis Park. The LED bulbs, the tube lights, they've expanded what they can do here. Brighter, more colorful, more animated.
Yeah, the snow tubes are fairly new, and then the starburst, and so.
But I think if people haven't been here for a while, they're going to see quite a bit of difference.
Right, I agree with LED, and so we just try to be more creative and do something different. All the restrooms are themed, so we have the sports area and the Griswold house.
And we actually have a wrap-up meeting in usually January or February. Try to look at what did well and where we could improve.
Well, each year it's always something to change. So if something doesn't work there, we try to move it someplace else.
Most common question people ask you when they find out what you do? What do they say?
They give me ideas to do, or things that they don't like, which it always helps. Feedback is always good.
That was last year, but yes, despite the pandemic, the Winter Wonderland in Tillis Park will be open for business again this year. The St. Louis County Parks Department has a website with all the details.